Hello. Oh, good. The microphone's working. I'm paranoid about that now. So, hello, everybody. Thanks for coming and joining me. Today, I'm struggling to open my bottle of ink off camera here. Today, I'm going to be working on finishing up chapter 23, page 21 of my webcomic Age of Night. As you can see, I've already done all the background inking, all the stuff that I do with pen and ink, and now it's just brush inking, and then I will be done with this page. We'll see if I can get it finished on the stream or if I just get pretty close. We'll see. So for brush inking, I'm going to be using my trusty Winsor Newton Series 7, number 4 size, and of course, India ink. Got my, oh my word. Okay, let's try not to smack the camera around. All right. Got my little piece of scrap paper off to the side so that I can load up my brush and then just kind of hone my point down so it's not all floppy and lumpy. So it's kind of nice. I actually have some sections on here where I just have some spot blacks to do. That's actually a really nice way to get started. So if my point is not all the way honed or my hand's not quite into it yet, it's an area that does not take the same level of precision, so it gives me a second to kind of slowly focus in on getting the control that I need for the rest of the page. So putting in all these spot blacks will hopefully magically transform this scene to actually look like it takes place at night. That's the idea. When all that white space turns black, suddenly it will look like it's at night, which this whole chapter is. Everything is super dark. Get some of these spaces filled in. I'm going to try to work along the top edge first and then work my way down. Oh, you can see my big stupid head. Sorry. I should have realized my head was not hitting the camera, so of course it's on camera. Of course. You can also see my very stylish reading glasses that I'm wearing. And get these tiny little areas that need to be done in spot blacks. Tiny little spaces in between these trees. So yeah, kind of working like all the way across the top and then next level down. I keep going that way so that I don't drag my hand through the ink is the idea. Oh, now my hair is in the way. Sorry about that. I might need to adjust this camera a little bit. Just stop leaning. Stop leaning and blocking the picture with your big stupid head. Oh my goodness, my phone's making noises, making me crazy. Why are you making so many noises, phone? Why you gotta be like that? Don't you know I'm trying to stream? Don't I know I could turn those sounds off before I start streaming? We know who the problem really is here. Come on, let's be real. Fill in these little tiny windows. Okay, it's starting to look more like a nighttime scene now. Now we've got a lot more black going on. Hello! Hello, Allison. Thanks for joining us. There we go. All right. Yeah, there's the first panel all nice and inked in. Allison says, always loves watching people work on art. I do too. I have a lot of fun just like zoning out and watching other people work on stuff. I get sucked into like watching people paint or draw or anything on if I'm scrolling through Instagram or Facebook and there's like a time lapse of somebody drawing or painting or anything. I'm just like, yep, totally stuck on that now. All right, so the background behind these panels, so remember these are the panels where we've got kind of a repeated composition here, like as if the camera is just stuck on these two guys as they're going through their, what should we do? Oh no. And again, it's nighttime and there's nothing but like swamp, open swamp behind them. So it's basically just going to be black behind them, darkness. There's a lot of spot black on this page. There's a lot of spot black in this chapter. Everything is happening in the dead of night. So the whole chapter takes place over like the course of an hour. It's a very weird chapter. It's not typical of the way that the chapters normally flow storytelling wise, which I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, but this chapter is very different from the 22 that come before it. Try to get around my Word balloons and panel borders. I promise once I'm done with this little spot, I'll actually start inking some of these figures and not just filling in spot blacks. Okay. Oh, no, didn't get that point down enough. Let's try that again. That's better. I'm not sure why I didn't do that in Nib. I did his brooch, but I didn't do the symbol on his hat band, even though it's even tinier. Who knows what I was thinking there? Or if I just didn't even notice it. Kind of use a, sometimes I'll do that too, where I'll use a space on the page that I know is going to end up being a spot black. I'll use that space to hone my brush instead of reaching over to where I have that little paper for doing that. Whoop. You can see the tip of my brush coming apart a little bit there. Oh, thank you. Allison says she likes the layout. Thanks. Layout is always one of the hardest but most rewarding parts of the whole process. It's the thing that makes it comics, and I always find it really difficult. It takes a lot of concentration and a lot of brain power for me to get my layouts done, but when they come out well and I like how they work, then it's super rewarding. It's like, yes, I know how to comic. I actually know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Yes, yes, exactly. It is. It is the hardest part of the comicking. And like good layouts, you read a page with a good layout and you're just like, oh, it's so good. Like you can like it's like that, galaxy brain type feeling when you read one with a really good layout. And sometimes even really competent layouts are basically invisible. Like you don't even notice. You just like, oh wow, I'm reading this really easily and I'm really like feeling into it. And you don't even notice that it's because the layout is really solid. And sometimes a really great layout is just like psh, galaxy brain. Oh my gosh. I can't believe that I just read that awesomeness. And a bad layout confuses you and makes you want to cry. Every time I pick up a comic book with a bad layout, I'm just like, no, why? No. Why you gotta be like that? Come on. I don't know why this brush is struggling to hold a point today. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just on the struggle bus today. This guy's very stressed out expression here. I lay out the first 3 pages of my comics that are in the same universe the same. It gives me a chapter heading feel. Oh yeah, I like that. That's a good idea. I like that, starting with a similar layout. That's a good idea. I had never even thought of that. And it's nice and subtle too, like not something that people would necessarily pick up on, but would reinforce that feeling of like you're settling into this story. That's a cool idea. All right. What do I want to do next? This part. Trying to figure out the best angle of attack on inking sometimes. almost there on this panel. There we go. Oh, no, I missed a little spot. There we go. There we go. Okay, so we've got 2 of, I can count, 5 panels inked. Promise I can count. Fill more of this space back in. All right, so that's the big first big swath of spot black on spot black on that one. Getting that little head cape thing. I'm not sure what you call that. Maybe eventually I'll know what that's called. If anybody knows what this little hat cape would be called. It's not quite a veil. It doesn't cover his face. I'm sure there's a technical term for it. There's a technical term for like everything in clothing. I just don't know them all. I'll try to get that point down before I go into his face. That's that figure. So we're about halfway through now, ish, I guess, by some definition. Pretty sure that final panel is going to be more work than a couple of these combined. But if we're looking strictly at number of panels, I am halfway through 3 out of 5. Fill in all this spot black. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no. I know more about clothes from like one job that I had than any practical experience myself. I worked, I had an internship at Colonial Williamsburg at the Costume Design Center for a summer, and then like a couple weeks around Christmas break one year. It was pretty freaking cool. I learned a lot about clothes, but really more about, 18th century clothes, not so much about modern clothes. It was a really cool job. But no, I don't know a lot about like about modern clothes or terms for a lot of things. I can make you a tri-corner hat in my sleep though. If you give me a hat blank, I can make a tri-corner hat basically with my eyes closed. I made so many of those darn things. I worked in the accessories department, so I made a lot of hats. It was pretty cool. Very, very concerned face on this guy. There we go. All right. So that's 3 panels down. We're at 30 minutes in. Oh, I'm making pretty good time. Fill in another big area of spot black. Try to get all around that word balloon without messing up that nice curve it's got going on. Okay. Look at the outer edge of this figure here, and then I can fill in the rest of that spot black that leads up to it. Trying to get all these tiny little details on their faces without messing up. Trying to get those folds on their little capelets. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like the way it's coming out. I really liked this page, and I figured it would be a good one to do on the stream. It can be tricky finding pages that work well for streaming, because it's like, I don't want it to be too spoilery. I want it to be interesting. I want the stuff that I'm drawing to not be boring while I'm working on it, you know. So some pages just work better than others. Because some, even like in previous, like when I was doing streams where I was finishing volume 3, and so I'm doing streams of like some of the last pages the last pages of the last chapter of a whole volume where all sorts of spoilery stuff was going on. And so I would like mask a bunch of the word balloons so that you couldn't see what they were saying. But sometimes the action itself is pretty spoilery. Just who is on a page and what they're doing can be spoilery. So it can be tricky to find pages that will work. And if I don't have any for a little while, that's usually when I do some of my other freelance work on the stream instead. So it's like, well, at least this won't spoil any upcoming story. Even though I like working on comic pages on the stream, but if I don't have any that'll work, gotta do what I gotta do. Get that black all around that pretty decent hand gesture I got there. The oh crap claw. Like, oh crap, what's that? All right, one more figure on here. One more figure on this panel, and then it'll be on to the last panel, which is pretty cool. That is definitely an oh crap expression. Getting there. Getting there. I'm excited for the last panel. Get some more of these little fabric folds. Belt there. There we go. All right, so that's 4 out of 5 panels done. My connection is unstable. I don't like that. Don't be like that. Don't be like that, internet. It's not helpful. Okay, on to the last panel, which was super fun to draw because it's Thel and some of the other shadows showing up and being badasses, and I love it. Love it. I love it. Fill in a bunch of this black space up at the top here. Oh, that got a little wonky outside the panel border. I'll have to clean that up later. Okay. Got a little bit of that spot black up at the top. This guy is very serious face. I don't have a name for this guy. He's just some random background guy. I have names for a lot of the shadows, but I do not have a name for this guy. There we go. And he's got the hatchet for a weapon, because sure, why not? Why not? Why not just mess some stuff up with an axe? Yeah, so expendable. Yeah, he's a little bit expendable, I guess. I have expended some other background shadows without names. It has happened. I've expended some shadows with names, too. The end of volume 7 got a little bit, or the end of volume 3, chapter 7 of volume 3 got a little bloody. There was a bit of a body count on that book. We'll see how everybody does in this chapter. Of course, we'll also see if I ever freaking finish this chapter. It's so long. This is page 21. It's not even close. It's not even close to the end at page 21. I have some chapters that are only 20 pages long. Not this one. Get this guy's little foot down here. Okay, all of that is supposed to be black. Let's get some of that filled in real quick. What are we at? 50 minutes. Oh no, we're almost at time. Almost at time. I usually keep these to just about an hour long. So as I'm working on this big black section, I will just start mentioning the things. I'm Amanda Call. This is my webcomic, Age of Night, that I am working on. You can read the whole thing online for free at ageofnight.com. There's a new webpage. There's a new comic page on the web comic. I can talk, I swear. There's a new comic page up on the website every Wednesday night. And while you can read the whole thing for free, you can also become a patron on Patreon. So that's patreon.com/ageofnight. Age of Night, by the way, is spelled AGEOFNIGHT. No K in it. There we go. Getting that kind of feathered edge so that the brushed spot black blends in with this hatching instead of it just being a harsh line through there that looks kind of gross and incongruous. But ooh, yeah, that knocked my point all out of shape. You can buy the book on that website where you can buy all the things. You know the one. Currently, I don't know if there is another place online to purchase it. I will have to check into that. My publisher is not currently hosted on One Bookshelf right now, so I will. We had been, but right now we are not. We're having a misunderstanding with them. So I think it will be up. If it's not up already, it will be up very soon on Skirmisher's website. Okay, I know. I drew that whole foot and I'm just going to cover it in ink because he's like coming out of the shadows. It seems like a waste, but I needed to know where it was to get the balance for the rest of the figure, so it's not really. But yeah, that's those things. You can follow me on Twitter at Age of Night. You can follow me on Instagram at Amanda Call Art. If you like watching me draw stuff, you can like this video, you can share it with people, and you can subscribe to this YouTube channel and hit the little notification bell thing so that when I go live, your whatever device you have set up with YouTube will tell you. Because it's not always at the same time because life. Because life. I usually do these streams about once a week. I missed last week because last week was a week. It was a week. There was also much more important stuff going on than me drawing, so I kind of just figured I'd sit last week out. All right, I've got, so see, it does look like he's coming out of the shadows. See, it did work. It did work. Hopefully it works on the rest of them too. I'm going to do just a little bit more before we call it here. Get Fell's hair here. There we go. All right. I think that's going to be it for this afternoon. I got Fell's face done now. All right. Oh, thank you. You too. Have a good week. All right. That's going to be it for today. I started with background inks done, and now I've got 4.5-ish panels completed. I'm real close to finishing this last one, and then this page will be done. So thanks, everybody, for hanging out with me while I work, and I will see you next time.